is about one of my new favorite things to do. I don't know why I put it off for so long, because it can be relatively inexpensive and it makes such an impact for so little. Like, I realize you can get, Carrera marble and really get into some expensive work, but I checked with the guys and I checked online about doing tile direct to cement. This is a cement floor basement, and it's very level. I was able to just cut the carpet back and vacuum it. Now, for years, this was just a painted floor. So I did have to check to make sure that the tile and the mastic or the mortar would stick to the paint and everything, and it doesn't seem to be a problem. My daughter misses me a lot while I'm gone working. She's 6. And she said, Mommy, if you use bigger tiles, the job will go faster. Well, today I'm using 12 by 12 tiles, and I have done tile sheets of Mosaic tiles that are 12 by 12, and that goes pretty fast too. But when you have to cut them and work around an obstacle in the kitchen, like an outlet, you can spend an hour cutting that little section out. So on this particular job, I have 2 tiles that I have to cut. My older daughter has a wet saw, so we may be calling on her to cut 2 of the tiles for me, because I tried to use just the tile cutter that scores it and snaps it, and it didn't cut straight. So it's likely that I'll just break tiles if I keep at that. Now, I had 4 cracked tiles out of the case of 12. After laying it out, the 4 cracked tiles didn't make a difference, because I need 2 of the cracked tiles to do some cuts. Each last tile against the wall is less than half, but because they were split funny, I couldn't use the opposite side of it. So I am hoping I cracked one. I have 3 left that are broken, that I can take 2 of the broken ones to her and have her cut them, or borrow her wet saw. She just went through and did subway tiles in her kitchen, and she's got an old farmhouse that she did, which is a lot harder to do because things aren't square. Nothing is square in a house like that. I'm a little more lucky, things are square around here. So this is just a quick tile job. I'm literally getting this laid down in about 30 minutes. I'm kind of cheating because I know between the mortar and between the carpet, if I end up adding any trim, it's going to hide any flaws. I just might even get home at a decent time for dinner tonight. Now this is a lower end, inexpensive tile. They didn't have anything with a bullnose finish end. I had looked at some tiles that had a bullnose 3-inch tile to put up along the edge or the face of the hearth, and they were about over $5.50 each, so I know it was going to cost roughly $6 a tile to do that. And I decided that the painted face of the hearth was good enough. Now if you wanted to, you could cut this tile and put your cut end down and then just caulk along the top. But I had the added obstacle that the masonry finish work has a rounded edge right here, and I didn't want to have to mess with that. Mess with as much as you want. Why complicate things more than you need to? Now I find a lot of times with this tile, it is helpful for me to do as much laying out of my initial mastic or mortar that I can work a couple of sheets in, because basically you end up working yourself into a corner and it's hard to work against another tile. When you've got open space, you might as well use it. Trying to not glob it against the carpet. But it doesn't always work. So essentially, I'm getting this laid out in less time than what it's taking the wash machine to run a load. I'm doing dual duty here. I'm running the household and the renovation at the same time. I had my choice today to work on self-sticking tiles in the kitchen or to work on the kitchen countertop in this. And with this, I can get the kitchen countertop squared away and get away from the stink by working in the basement. And then this will be all set and dry for the next time I come to go ahead and fill in the cracks with the grout. Okay, this is how far I've gotten for today. Like I said, I started a load of laundry and the washing machine didn't even finish before I was done. It was real simple to do. It took longer to cut the carpet and to clean up underneath it than to actually spread and lay the tile. The mastic or mortar goes on really easy. The main thing is you want to make sure you give it a little tap or press it in to make sure that you've got them nice and level. And you can actually even use a level to make sure that they're not all, wonky, because that does make it difficult, as far as cleaning up and everything, to have one tile sticking up. I did have a little trouble. That second to the last tile there felt like it was thicker than the other, so I just pushed it down a little bit. More. And you get those variances with tile because they're man-made and maybe the molds are different. I'm going to fill in this last section here, I was able to use my multi-tool to cut under a little bit extra of the trim. You see I've got the carpet pulled up there. We actually laid the trim long after the carpet was ever put down. That was a new thing that we added last year. This is the tile cutter I have, and it's just the Anvil. It's a score and snap tile cutter that they have at Home Depot. It was maybe $20, $25. So I've scored the lines here where I want to have them cut. But here's a sample tile that I cut. It already had the cracked edge, but when I ran it down the score mark, it snapped sideways. That scoring just wasn't deep enough to get it through there to not cause snapping on a full-size tile. It was really fine for doing the short tiles when I did like the 2x4s of the backsplash tile that I did. But on these 12x12 tiles, I don't want to take the chance because I've only got these 3 left. So I can just get a better cut on that. Now, like I said, I have this new multi-tool. They actually make a tile cutting head for that. So depending on how much it is, I can do that. But I'm going to be driving by my daughter's tonight, so I'm just going to see if she can cut those for me. It doesn't want to go all the way through.
No. It's not wanting to go all the way through.
It just doesn't like it. It's binding. So it's about a 6-inch blade, right? So it's wanting to cut about 6 inches and then it's binding and stopping. She was able to push this one through, but it didn't cut real even. And I told her it's 89 cents. It's no big deal. And I can go through it with Jack's Dremel in the middle, but these are a lot thicker than what I did before.
Yeah, well, and last time I was using 4x4 or 6x6 tiles. I think they were 4x4 tiles. So, because we were just doing a kitchen backsplash.
Right.
And then again, I didn't even have to cut that many tiles.
Yeah, see, and my biggest tile was 2x4, and if I had to cut one, I just went ahead and used the snap and score, but this just snapped it.
Well, and see, I never got a clean cut from that either.
Yeah.
It was always kind of wonky.
That's why I didn't want to go out and go buy a new tool.
Chuck to borrow this, and he just left it.
Oh, hey. Thanks, Chuck. All right. My daughter is doing something I have never done before. Good job, woman.
I mean, you said these ones are going to be like on the
under the baseboard,
okay.
so
yeah.
As long as it fits and I've got room for my grout line.
But because it was like binding, it's not the cleanest cut, but
yeah.
It's better.
But that's good. I mean, you can see where I made my little grout line, and I gave myself extra because I've got, you know, quarter inch of wood.
For the blade, you know, measurement either.
Well, and if you've never changed the blade and he might have used it a bunch,
well, actually,
it could be dull.
You know, and it's been sitting in storage.
Well, unplug it so the kids don't come around. Thank you so much. Yay! I'm going to be able to finish my tile job. I'll finish it tomorrow, but thank you, thank you. Okay, I admit it, I have a problem. I couldn't call it. I decided to go ahead and whitewash it. So I didn't want to go out and buy another product, and a lot of people recommended using chalk paint. I already had satin finish of the Bear, and I preferred the semi-gloss, so this was a good way to use up a little bit of that. This is 50% paint and 50% water mixed together. I did use this mixed up with my paintbrush, my stir, and my power mixer, but I just decided that I wasn't liking the way it was looking. I wasn't getting the impact that I was wanting out of the project. So I think that painting it solid white was going to be too much, and this is giving me enough white color or bleed through from behind that it's not so stark white. It's giving it a kind of a rustic look, and I know it changes as it dries a little bit, but it's leaving it kind of a grayish look, and I like that because then it's not just solid white. And to tell you the truth, I scrubbed this twice with masonry soot remover, and you know, it was really hard to get it clean here along the edges. So, you know, the white's going to be a problem for a future person having to clean it and whatnot, but as far as getting the household, it's going to look better. The textured stone effects paint that I used on the grills will still have that on it, but I'm going to paint them with some white spray paint so they'll still have the rough texture. But all in all, I think it's going to look better. I have my parts here to finish my mantle today. As long as this can be glued up, I'm actually just going to glue it here to the top and then build it all in place. I had wanted to do corbels of some kind on the front. I couldn't find a way to balance it with the plinth blocks or the rosettes and with the grates on the side, and I really didn't think that they looked right in the center. There was the issue of having them in the center of the block here, having them on the line, and I have to mount them to the top mantle from the inside of it where it's hollowed out. And I thought a really neat thing too, I could actually have this a hinged top to have a little hiding stash box for matches and whatever. On another mantle that we built at a previous house, it actually had built-in electric power supply, and it was really nice to have for decorating it with Christmas lights and stuff. So if I put corbels, I also have to notch it out here and here to get it to line up here. So it would have to be a pretty substantial corbel, but then I would lose a lot of it also unless I built it up behind. I didn't think of that before. Wow. See, more ideas. I just can't call it. I told you I have a problem. So I'm going to continue whitewashing this so I can get this done, and I'll tell you, it's messy. It is splattery, and I wish I would have done it first before I started all the other projects. I took the carpet that I cut off and I've laid it over my artwork and my stenciling, and I'm having to constantly wipe and clean because it splatters. It's very messy.